Hi everybody and welcome to today's video. So as you can potentially see on this table, we're going to be talking about my flute journey today. So before I begin, if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Adrian McGrady. I'm a flutist based in the upstate New York area. If you like, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on all social media platforms. They're going to be in the description box below. And let's go ahead and get started. So my flute journey started obviously when I was in 5th grade. I started playing on a student model Armstrong flute. Unfortunately, I cannot find anyone. I would have brought it with me if I could, but that's where my flute journey started. But then as I started to progress going into middle school, then into high school, I stayed playing on that flute up until my college auditions. I had gotten into college, but then I realized I didn't have a good working instrument and it wasn't going to be good for what I needed to do as far as my sound. So one thing I did, and I do not recommend any of you do this, I bought a no-name brand open hole B-foot flute off of eBay. It did the trick for a little bit, but then my teacher at the time, she was saying you need a better working instrument. So recently, she had inquired believe it was a Sankyo 201 or 301, whichever one. It was a nice flute. She let me take it home over my Thanksgiving break at the time, and I absolutely fell in love with it, but it was just way out of my price range. So when I got back to school, had to give it back. Was crying, but it wasn't what it was. But at that time, when Flute Talk was still in print, physical print, I kept seeing ads for pearl flutes, and one of their models, the 665 Quantz-CODA model, they kept advertising that in the magazine. So I found the website Woodwind and Brasswind. I ended up purchasing that flute off of that, and that is this one right here. So the thing with this flute, I actually got this without trying it out first. It was kind of an impulse buy, but it has seen me through gigs, seen me through theater gigs, seen me through concerts, recitals, funerals. It's seen me through everything. I am very grateful to this flute. So 16 years I've had this, and it has done me justice. So a little bit about this instrument. So it is a sterling silver head joint with a silver plated body and keywork, has a 10 karat gold lip plate, and then right in here, a little bit of silver on the riser. So this one has been my saving grace, and I'm very, very grateful to it. As I progressed in my musical studies, I ended up starting to play the alto and bass flute in school. More of the bass flute than the alto. However, when I was starting to do a lot of freelancing, I had a couple of composers and a lot of conductors asking me, do you play the alto flute? Because we need some alto flute parts. So, which led me in 2011, I believe it was, I had a flute choir gig, and I ended up purchasing this right here. This is another pearl flute. So I will say, full disclosure, I am not endorsed by Pearl. I just happen to love their instruments. They've done me justice for all these years, so I have been playing on them ever since. So a little bit about this instrument. So silver plated head joint, body, and keywork, but with a sterling silver lip plate and riser. I've used this now, God, 11 years. So this has been with me for quite a while. Again, lots of gigs, theater, concerts, recitals. This has been my saving grace as well. I'm grateful for having this. So stay tuned to the end because you'll hear a few snippets from each of these instruments. So we fast forward to the years of Auntie Rona and her bad attitude. Things shut down. Everything just went to a pause. I remember I was doing a flute choir gig for, I believe it was the Williamsport Flute Choir. One of the flute choirs, they did something online, and I had volunteered to play, and they wanted me to play the bass part, but unfortunately they didn't have a bass flute available. So I had someone send me out one, and it happened to be this bass flute right here. It is the pearl bass flute. Yes, again, it is a pearl. But story behind this one, in 2016, long before Auntie Rona and her bad attitude, I had a chance to go to the Flute Center of New York for the first time. And at the current time, I was not in the market to purchase any instruments. I just did not have the funds. But I did want to try bass flutes. And funny enough, this was the first one that they brought to me, and it was literally love at first sight. I did not want to give it back, but as I just inched it forward, it's like, just take it away, because then that way I don't have to think about it. But then the years go by, we start to reopen things very slowly. The Flute Center of New York is taking in-person appointments, and I saved up. I went without my coffee for months and other things in order to get this. And then in 2020, had a chance to go directly there, pick this up, and love this instrument ever since. So a little bit about this. Silver-plated head joint, body, and key work. Low B foot, which is very rare on most bass flutes. And for those of you, and I will say this, if you are a bass flute player and you know you're not gonna need this extra key, don't put it on there. Go strictly with the low C. That way you don't have to worry about weight problems or anything like that. So silver plated throughout, low B foot, and then of course the sterling silver lip plate and riser on the end. So this has seen me through, again, more gigs, more flute choir gigs. Recently going to Dr. Christine Potter's low flutes retreats. I had the chance to go to the one in, let's see, Huntsville, Alabama, in Annapolis, and Seattle, Washington. And she's just told me she's doing one in, I believe she said Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So if you are a low flutes player, keep an eye out for that. You will have lots and lots of fun. So on to the next instrument. I am not a huge piccolo player, but when I do play it, I enjoy it. And for me, one of the biggest things I was looking for when I got my piccolo was something that was going to be durable. Because let's be clear, I live in upstate New York. Weather is awful up here, and I'm deathly afraid of having a wooden instrument and having it crack. So that's where this came along. So this is my pearl grenadite piccolo. So it's a grenadilla wood and composite mix. So that way this can be played indoors and outdoors. And this one, well, as we call the piccolo, as one friend of mine calls it, the devil's toothpick, because God, it's awful. But this holds up, and it did well. However, I did want to enhance my sound a little bit, so I ended up purchasing this head joint from Mancke. They've given me, so this is all grenadilla wood, straight head joint, and with the grenadilla wood adapter. So if I'm not in a concert, and if I'm not in any kind of practice session, I'll just switch off. Let me show you. Switch off this head joint as it wobbles. Snap this one on, and that way I get a bit of a warmer sound with this. But this has been a very fun instrument to play, and I love, love, love this head joint. Then I believe it was, oh God, maybe a few months after that, I was playing around with some wooden piccolos, and I had found one that I actually liked. And again, still very fearful because upstate New York and our weather is just unpredictable at any given moment. So it could be 60 one day and then down to -19 the next. So I took a chance. I ended up trying out 3. It was between a Burkhart Rizona, a Yamaha piccolo, and this one, which I ended up buying. This is the William S. Amadeus Haynes piccolo. Wait, let me say that again. The Amadeus by William S. Haynes piccolo. So this one is grenadilla wood throughout, solid silver tenon and end rings, sterling silver mechanism. This has been a fun instrument to play. I've never owned a wooden piccolo till now, and it has been such a joy to play on this instrument. But throughout it all, my ultimate goal was to upgrade my concert flute, and when I went to go purchase my bass flute, I had the opportunity just to play on obviously different head joints, maybe see if that's what I wanted for this flute, but then I tried out a bunch of other flutes, and this was almost a year-long process. I tried maybe 50 to 60 flutes. Only 2 stood out in the end because it was too hard to figure out what I wanted. But then I kept going back to this one particular instrument and I made my final decision. So I am now here bringing, this is my new flute. This is a Muramatsu PTP flute. So if you can tell the difference, obviously, this one is a little bit lighter and this one is a little bit darker, and I'll give you the specs on this instrument. So it is a solid silver flute all throughout, but as you can see, there is also a generous coating of platinum on this. So this is coated in platinum inside and out, and it has this very dark, very haunting sound. I've loved this instrument and I could not have made a better choice. So solid silver, platinum plated, so it has a sterling silver mechanism, pointed key arms, open hold, B foot, split E, the C sharp trill key, and the roller. And I don't know if you can see right here on the key, on the D sharp key, that's engraved. And then also on my head joint, it also has a nice engraving as well. So now that I've gone through all of these, I'm gonna play a little bit of these flutes, well, flutes and piccolos for you, just so you can hear how everything sounds. So we'll start first with the pearl. I will say for 16 years having this, it still has a very nice sound. So I don't think I'll be getting rid of this flute anytime soon. Maybe update the head joint, but that will stay with me for a while. Then on to, this is the Pearl Alto flute.
I found this on the web.
Disregard that, Siri had a bad attitude. Has not lost any of its charm. So now we will go directly to the bass flute. Now for this, I'm gonna play only on the grenadilla head joint here on the Pearl Piccolo. So again, if you just need a practice piccolo or something that you can switch out the head joint, that would be a good one for most. Now on to the Haynes Amadeus. And then last but not least, the Muramatsu PTP. So before I conclude this, so obviously as you can see, this is my flute journey. I've got maybe one or two more I might be adding to my collection, but that's down the road. But someone on TikTok, two people on TikTok and Instagram asked me a question, and I want to address this. Someone asked, is there a quote unquote certain flute or certain flute model, certain things that you think that either a beginning student or an artist should get? Let me say this for the record, no. At the end of the day, when it comes to these flutes, there's one thing that I had in common, minus a few exceptions. You have to try them out. There is not gonna be that one particular flute that's going to fit for everyone. It's like shoes. You have to try them on in order for you to find the right one. When it comes to the instrument, when it comes to the flute, and I hate to say this, it's almost been this, fad's too strong of a word to say for most flutists, oh, if I play A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z flute, well, this person plays this, so I'm gonna sound like this if I play that. No, that's not how it works. Take that mindset out. Erase that and dead that talking point forever. I'll give you an example. James Galway has played a Muramatsu flute. He has played Nagahara. He has done work with Haynes. I believe he's done work with Pearl. He can play on these instruments and sound good because he is a seasoned professional. Jasmine Choi, I believe she's played a Straubinger flute. She's played a Yamaha Alto. She's played other brands. She is a seasoned instrumentalist. She knows what works for her. At the end of the day, just because something works for one person does not mean it's going to work for you. Get into the habit of go directly to the Flute Center of New York, go to Flutistry Boston, to Flute Specialists, go directly to the manufacturer. Powell has a factory, Haynes has a factory. Go to Burkhart, go to Brandon, go directly to the source, but don't look at these seasoned professionals and say, oh, if I do this, I'm going to sound like them. That's not the goal as a musician, is to sound like everyone. The goal is to have your own voice, to have your voice. I found my voice in these and they have done me justice, and I'm very grateful for it. So with that being said, thank you all for being here where I can discuss my flute journey with you. If you like this video, again, hit the like button, share it, subscribe to my channel. Obviously subscribe to all my social media platforms, and I can't wait till the next video. Maybe you might see a new instrument there, but keep in touch, stay safe, have a good one, guys.